And listen to my love. Would you come with an open heart and listen to my love? Listen.
Hello, my name is Darold Gholston, and I'd like to welcome you to Listen to Love, segment number 9. Where we discuss intimate topics and explore creative ways to celebrate love. Thank you for tuning in to Listen to Love on the Art of Romance channel. Today in our studio audience, we have Tammy Monroe. She is a graphic designer, a visual artist, a marketing expert, and a writer. Welcome, Tammy Monroe. But before we start the interview, we're going to hear from that smash hit by Charlie Coates, Make It Last Forever. So sit back and enjoy and listen to the great Charlie Coates sing about it and demonstrate what love is all about and make it last forever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Let's make this last forever. Let's make it last. I'm glad you're by my side. Yeah, yeah. You have given me countless reasons to believe in us together. Now that I'm near you, I'm finding out your eyes talk. Your voice touches me deeper than the sky is blue. Loving you is a blessing that has finally come true. Together for better or for worse, we will create our own universe. So let's make this last forever. Make it last. Without you, where will I be? I'm glad you're by my side. Our love will stand the test of time. You are my dream. This last forever. Yeah, yeah. Without you, where will I be? Where will I be? I'm glad you're by my side. Our love will stand the test of time. Yeah, yeah. I want this love to be an example of how a man should treat his woman. Thank you for making a commitment to me. I promise to be thoughtful when it comes to your feelings. I never want to see you cry because of me.
No matter what happens in this world, I want you to remember, once my friend, now my wife, I'll love you for the rest of my life.
Let's make this last. Let's make it last. Without you, where will I be? Without you, where will I be? I'm glad you're by my side. Glad you're by my side. Our love will stand the test of time. Yeah, yeah. Let's make this last. Let's make it last. Without you, where will I be? Girl, you hold the key. I'm glad you're by my side. Glad you're by my side. Our love will stand the test of time. Yeah, yeah. Let's make this last. Let's make it last. Without you, where would I be? I'm glad you're by my side. I'm glad you're by my
My name is Darold Gholston, and welcome to Listen to Love. Today's guest is Tammy Monroe, Interfaith minister, visual artist, graphic designer, and an overall dynamic individual. Welcome to the show, Tammy.
Thank you, Darold. I'm very happy to be here today.
Today we're going to talk about the impact of relationships and how relationships play a major part in our lives. And the first question I have for you, Tammy, why is love so important to you?
That is a big question. That's a big question. I think it's important to me because when you wake up to other people and yourself and what's happening in the world, you see that a lot of it has to do with love. It has a lot to do with people who are seeking love, and a lot of maybe dysfunction that happens in the world has to do with a lack of love. And so I have had the privilege of being raised by two beautiful parents who showed me a great example of what love is. And so it just became a part of who I was. I know that I am here to teach love and remind people how much they are loved. And so it's always been a big part of me.
So how do you go about teaching love?
Ooh. That is a great question. I'm not sure you can teach it. I think
Is love something that you have to give away and you really don't expect anything in return? Is it something that's an innate ability that you have within your heart that you want to share your inner feelings with someone?
I think love comes in a lot of different forms. You can have love between partners. You can have love between a child. You can have love between family members. There's all different types of love. Love between friends. You know what I think the most important love is? The love that you have for yourself. I think once you learn how to love yourself, you can love everybody else. And it's not necessarily, I think you learn how to be love.
And I like that answer. How do you go about loving yourself? What do you do for yourself? And I'm talking to you, Tammy, about your inner love, the impact that love has on your life, and how do you practice that love for yourself?
You know, I think a lot of people would think that would be easy. And I think maybe people think it's easy and they don't spend time on it because it's not necessary. And I'm here to say that it is. It is necessary. And my own personal journey has been learning that. And how you learn to love yourself is to really get to know who you are. Don't be afraid to spend time with yourself. Be your own best friend. Learn who you are inside and love yourself with everything. See yourself make mistakes. See yourself fall and stumble and then get back up and be stronger. And know that you're human and that you make mistakes. And just love yourself. Have fun. And once you can do that, then you become really solid. And then you can turn your attention outward. And falling in love with other people comes naturally.
And I think that's a great answer. In a lot of situations, people don't love themselves. They don't know how to love themselves. And I think part of the problem may be how they were raised or society or some of the role models that they have had. So with you, how has love impacted your life?
Well, like I said earlier, I had two great parents that were great examples. And they struggled. I saw them struggle. I saw them argue. I saw them have joy in raising. I'm the oldest of three kids. And we just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So I was able to witness the work behind it, and I've heard them both. I've been alone with both of them, in fact, just recently, and they each had their nitpicky things to say about each other. But then I've also seen how much they love spending time with each other, and they are each other's best friends. And so that's how I started out in this life. I got to witness that. And then from there, it was my grandmother, beautiful person. And I've had lots of experiences with friends and even relationships that were fantastic relationships, but then I've had relationships that were really difficult and painful. And those times were when I got to stop and turn around and take a look at myself and say, what am I not seeing here? Because I was feeling maybe fear in some places, or something wasn't showing up that I needed to see, and they were lessons. So in all relationships, there is some wisdom to be pulled, and so I've been grateful for all of it. It's been difficult, and everybody, I'm sure, has felt all those ups and downs, but there's always some wisdom to pull out of it.
Do you think love is making yourself or putting yourself in a vulnerability situation, or making yourself open, like an open book?
Well, I've just recently understood what unconditional love is.
Please explain that to me.
There is, I went along for the majority of my life in relationships, and I was always concerned with the things that I felt I needed to get out of the relationship. And so if I was doing something in the relationship, I expected to get something back out of that. And if I didn't get it the way I thought I should get it, then I would be disappointed. And, that wasn't working out. So I managed to get myself into a relationship where it was at a different level, and I could feel the core of me touched the core of this other person, and it's hard to explain. I knew that I loved this person in a different way, and that this person could do anything. And the love that I had for them had nothing to do with any of their actions. It came from a different part in me. And so I knew that, but I also knew that made me very vulnerable, because then that person could do anything they wanted to do, even if it wasn't good for the relationship. And so I had to find a balance there.
Well, can you give me an example of that?
Of finding balance?
Well, finding balance in willing to do anything. And what do you mean by willing to do anything?
I knew that because I loved unconditionally this person, that it opened up the door for this person to do anything they wanted to do.
Take advantage of you?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. But then the balance comes in when I can stop and say, how did that feel to me? How did that action just feel to me? Because guess what? I love me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I get to decide if that is something that I want in my life, because before I love anybody else, I have to love me first, and I have to make sure that I'm doing okay. And because the best I can give to somebody else is when I am in a good place for me. So that's where balance comes in.
Very good. I like that. How do you keep a relationship nourished? And how do you keep the flame going in a relationship?
I think the key, I can speak personally from me, is to make it important, to make it a priority, to make it important to spend time with each other, to do things together, to have fun together. I think it's, the world seems like such a serious place these days. It's important to remember to laugh and to have fun times together. I think it's one of the biggest lessons I've learned recently is that I believe relationships are meant to help. We're here to help each other grow in any kind of relationship, but the significant relationship that you're in is particularly important because there are challenges. We're always growing, we're always making mistakes, we're always falling and learning, and to have another person there to say, it's okay, I love you, let's get back up, let's try again, tell me about the lesson you just learned, and to support each other in that. I think that's a big part of nurturing. It's being each other's best friends, being there to hear how your day went. What did you learn? What was the best part of your day? And a lot of, you've probably heard it over and over. You see a couple sitting in a restaurant and they're both on their phones, looking at the email and not really paying attention to each other. And I say, put your phone down. Don't even take it. It's time to look in each other's eyes and listen and talk and share.
That is a great answer. And if a lot of people took that advice to heart, I think the divorce rates would be a lot different in this country, because we just don't spend enough time with each other, and we are so busy in our own stuff or our own mess. That's a great answer. Mm-hmm. Tammy, I have a question for you from a spiritual sense. How important is it to have God in your relationship?
I can say from my own point of view that it is necessary. It's a necessary thing. Some kind of spirituality is important, I think. And if you can, as a couple, be in that together. I know a lot of couples who are interfaith. One may be Christian, one may be, you might have somebody going to a Catholic church and maybe married to a Jewish person, and they make it work. And those lines are getting blurrier, where you have people who are interfaith. They're coming together and almost going beyond the religion part of it and reaching a place that's spiritual, and that's that core of oneness within. I think when you can come together and pray, meditate, it helps strengthen your relationship, because it's both of you together, but then you have this added level where you can come together and, if you're having some difficult time, say some prayers. There's always strength in that, I believe.
And I totally agree. And there was a old saying, a couple that prays together stays together.
Yeah, you got that. Yep.
And I really think it's important to have that bond of security between each other and that understanding of what's important. And I think that helps keep couples on track to love each other, respect each other. And that is a good lead into the next question. There's a lot of boundaries in relationships. And some people will cross the boundary line when they're in a relationship. And how do you, for your own self-esteem, your own self-worth, make sure that your feelings aren't being trampled on?
That's a tough one. There's always hope in a relationship that you're both on the same level, that you respect each other enough to honor each other's space, but also expect honesty and transparency. Look, a relationship can be wonderful if you're both on that same page and you're both giving and there's this flow going on. There's so much freedom in that. But then I've also experienced relationships where it's not on the same level, and the boundaries for one person may be way up here, and the boundaries for the other person may be way down here. And I think a lot of communication and knowing where each other is coming from in that. And if you do have people who are at those different levels of what they understand the boundaries are, through communication you can reach a place in the middle. And I think a lot of relationships are like that, but I think communication is key.
And that takes me right into the next question about communication, conversation, and understanding, because a lot of people don't have effective communication when they're talking to a person, and people will be misled, just in not understanding the question or understanding the situation. So how do you make sure that your communication is clear to an individual when you're dating someone, when you're in a friendship, talking to a coworker?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. And I think a lot of people have some difficulty in that area. Communication is pertinent in a relationship, and it's important to be able to talk freely about anything in a relationship. A few years back, I had a very special spiritual teacher that I was seeing, and she taught me how to speak your truth.
Well, I like that.
Yeah, it was, in your life you learn little pearls of wisdom, and you always know when you've heard something that you will never forget, and that's one of those things. And so when I'm in conversation or in a relationship with anybody, and something has been said or something has been done that doesn't quite feel right with me, it doesn't feel good to me, then I go to that person and I speak to that person in my place of truth, and in that place of truth exists love. And so before I make anybody wrong in that, I want to understand. And so I share that it didn't feel good to me. It didn't feel good. It made me feel bad. And, I know you love me and that you wouldn't hurt me intentionally, but it hurt. And I want you to know that it hurt. And so when I can speak my truth in a relationship and that person feels my pain, the interaction is, it comes from a different place. It comes from a place of love. And I try to use it as much as I can because it seems pretty effective. And it allows me to speak truth. And I feel better when I can do that. And I'm not angry,
That is a beautiful way of handling situations. And I wish I had that type of savviness to handle a argument or a disagreement or just approaching it like that. And I think I've learned a lot from that statement that you just made. And I hope the studio audience can learn something from that statement also. A place of truth, and being honest with yourself and the individual and expressing how you truly feel. I think that's great. Tammy, in relationships, do you have to look for love, or do you wait on love to find you?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Okay, so here's my thinking behind that. I think love always is. It always exists. It's up to us to do our work, to let go of the fears around that, to be able to feel it. It's all around us. So I think if you decide that you want to go out and find love, I think you could find it anywhere. It's, for me, when I've tried to do that, it doesn't necessarily work the way I'd like, but I've found that when I let go of the desire to find love, that's when it comes.
And I totally agree with that. Is it the lust? Because sometimes people confuse lust with love.
Mm-hmm.
And you may be lustful after someone, but and if you wait, you may miss that opportunity. So how do you get that fine balance, or find that fine balance in the search or the pursuit of love?
I'm going to go back to something I said earlier, and that was learning how to love yourself first. So when you can do that, something happens. And I've had people say this to me, and I'm so... When I hear this, when I hear people tell me that there's something about you, there's like your smile, you're
The
glowing,
glow. Yeah.
and so I know what that is. And it's when you, and I don't feel like that all the time, just want you to know, because it's, it's work. But when I'm feeling good, when I feel that I'm doing the work I'm doing in the world, and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm happy, and I'm good. Something happens where there's a natural attraction, and I have met lots of people like this, where there's just this, and people are all around them, and they have friends, and there's something about people who are grounded and who love themselves that give off this energy that it just naturally attracts other people. And I think when you can be in that place, I don't think there's ever going to be a lack of it, or you're not going to feel like there's a lack of love there. I think it's always going to be there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, Tammy, what is the most important part of a relationship to you?
Oh, in a significant relationship or any relationship?
Well, let's go significant, and let's go, let's start with significant first.
Okay. Well, besides all of the things that we all hear are important to relationships, is having trust. I mean, that's significant. Conversation, having just generally being on the same page. You can feel that when you're in alignment with each other, and you can feel when you're not in alignment with each other. I think to always have that connection, always be talking, always be sharing, make each other important.
Well, let's take it to another level then. Some people think that sex is the most important part of a relationship. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a significant part, because when you can have that connection with somebody, in my mind, that's a very spiritual thing, and that's, in my belief, that is the highest spiritual experience that you could have with another person. So I think it's very important. But you're not having sex all the time, so you got to be
absolutely.
You have to be giving and taking, and having that energy with each other. You know, when you're out in the world, you know, and dealing every day with each other, and dealing with the issues. You know, you might be dealing with family issues or money issues, or you know, there's a lot going on in relationships.
So Tammy, this has been a great interview. I have really enjoyed it. For the studio audience, can you leave some parting words of wisdom so people can grow and learn from you?
I will offer this: to remember that everyone is doing their best with the wisdom they know right now, because we're always evolving and we're always learning lessons and growing. And what we know this day is more than we knew yesterday. And be kind to yourselves and each other. And we are all here to help each other learn lessons and grow. So stay the course and love each other through it. And whether you end up in a relationship or not, you can be love always, in all ways. And life is a gift. So go out and enjoy it, and remember to have fun.
Well said. And I'd like to thank you, Miss Tammy Monroe, for being on Listen to Love. This has been an excellent interview, and thank you so much. And please come back soon.
Thank you. Thank you. I will. I've enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
You're listening to Love on the Art of Romance channel.
Whether you're looking to spice things up or indulge in a bit of self-care, let Art of Romance fulfill all your romantic needs, from sensual adult games to massage oils, candles, chocolate treats, and much, much more. Do you desire a little romance in your life? Visit us at artofromancellc.com. artofromancellc.com.